And we are live. Cool. All right. Hello. This is episode 3 of SOTO Sundays. So, it is Sunday, as usual. Um, Thanks for sticking around. Sticking around. Oh my goodness. I have these retainers. So, not cool. But, hey, it gets the job done. Anyways, hello. How are you? What you been up to? How was your week? Because my week is crazy. Just saying that it's crazy. Um, like I mentioned from last week's episode. Okay, I saw my in-ears has like a green stuff in it, but it's just the LED light of my headphone amp. I'm gonna do a studio tour of this space here. If you notice some stuff here, for example, that guy there, that just came by. It's like a folding bed. Um, Reason being is because, well, I figure for the summer I might sleep with my parents at the living room. But because there's less space, I figure, you know what? I'm gonna buy myself a new folding bed, which is great because hey, it's foldable, it has wheels, so if I want to sleep like in camp or I'm going on a retreat and I want to bring my own bed with my own mattress, bro, this thing can do it all. And it's like what, 380 bucks? Yeah, it's uh, it's a lot of this, but it's super comfy. I love the mattress, love the construction, and I love how flexible this thing is. So, yeah. Anyways, like I said, this is episode 3, and it is just myself, as always. Um, Also, I'm going to bring down the AC less. So, basically, if you don't know, I installed new AC, which is right over there. You can barely see it, but there's this long white strip that goes into the outlet. Um, it's great. I love it, and yeah, like it instantly cools off this entire studio a lot. So it's great because I believe this upcoming week is going to be about in the hundreds, 102, 105. So yeah, I'm gonna need a good power unit. But anyways, this episode is gonna be about probably like actually I don't have a title or a topic to discuss this episode. I might as well kind of say like, you know, coming from a musician side, I might as well talk about a bit of, you know, like, are you being productive 24/7? Is there enough creativity behind it? I believe, like, and I don't say that just for music, which it's totally a huge practice for a lot of producers, a lot of tracking engineers. Creativity and production are fundamentals for project work. But it's not only that, it's other things outside. So we're talking about life skills. We're talking about different talents and skills. We're talking about life choices. You know, how are you creative in your decisions that you want to do? The choices you make in life, are they producing creativity, and are they producing a good creation of good results? I believe on my end, when it comes to, I don't know, like just working songs for a couple people that I know. Next week I'm having an artist coming by here. I'm going to be working with him. He lives in California, here in California, so he's gonna come by to my home studio, and we're gonna work a ton, which is great. But I expected, you know, and I'll take a step back. He actually said he wants to start on new um a new song, but from scratch, meaning no production being taking place. Not just adding bits, it's actually forming the foundation of a song that he wrote that he want to start doing. So for me, here in my home studio, I've been here almost every day, except Sundays, because I go to church. I upload these episodes because it's Sunday. I get out from church to go spend time with my family, either just having lunch, dinner, or just go out to our local park, just explore whatever the park has. I mean, there's a ton of people. Our park that's near. One of the critical things that I kind of learned is that being creative in a lot of things makes you grow more. And what I mean by that is that taking a perspective of a chef, right? The chef is considered a cook. And what cook means is that it's a form of artwork. You make 1,000 dishes a day. You make a lot of modifications. You add stuff, you remove stuff from the meals with just simple ingredients or modifying the recipes and using the same tools, believe it or not. Like 99% of dishes that were being created are all from a pan, right? And your kitchen knife. That's it. That's all. So, just little tools, but having open mind, saying, I'm gonna create this meal that I heavily created originally, that I have in my head for my dad's birthday. I'm gonna create this cake that I've created, that I've frosted, I've been baking for the past week, trial and error, for a wedding that's coming up. You know, there's a lot of like moving scenarios in your mind when you're going in the phase where you have to be creative in what you're doing. You know, it's like, it's a cycle of like, you know, you go late in bed in the morning, go late in bed at night, you sleep for a good 7 to 8 hours, which is honestly good. You get up, you put yourself good, you eat, you brush your teeth, and then, well, for most people, it's either work or education. Either go to college, go to university, go to school, or it's job, 9 to 5 job. You get home, you rest out, you do a couple things around the house, and all of a sudden you went back to sleep, and then the other routine comes by again and again and again. Throughout this 24/7 routine, what is something that you can do differently? You know, a lot of people decide to do family times. You know, having family coming over or visit family. We either just get to hang out with people that we love the most, or we decide to do a different habit, different hobby, trying to do new thing. You know, like we get out from work, we get out of school. What are we going to change? I'm thinking, you know what? For every Tuesday that I go out from work or get out of school, I'm going to go to the gym. Or every Wednesday, before I go to work, before I go to school, I'm going to have my family, my parents coming over, my family, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, and we're going to do a morning prayer every Wednesday, right? Just an example for that. Or let's say, you know what, let's fast a little bit. Let's sacrifice something that we should not eat to help us grow and to make our bodies healthy. You know, starting every 6 days of the week, so Monday to Saturday, we're gonna eat healthy, and the only times we're gonna be eating out and junk food is only on Sundays after church, going to grab a Pizza Hut or going to grab a quarter pounder from McDonald's, whatever. You know, those are creative choices that you created to perform something different. And what kind of result does it give at the end of all? Is it a good result that's showing positive feedback? Does it show a result that performs a negative feedback saying it didn't work out? I don't think it's great enough. I don't think I'm gonna do that again. You know, are those working out for you? And does it work out with your family? A lot of people have become super blank. I feel like most of us have become super blanked out, right? We crash out, be like, what am I actually doing? How can I change this routine, this activity that I've done multiple times, that it's either good or bad? How can I change it so that way I can be more proactive in my life? You know, you gotta make the right stuff. You gotta perform the right attitude. And that creates you a different personality, a different mindset. And with those elements that's circling around your brain will allow you to be creative in what you're actually doing or gonna do in the future. Whether if it's today, whether if it's tomorrow, what if it's in like a week or whatever in the future, doesn't matter. As long as you don't lose that. Because I struggle with that. I lose what I was supposed to do tomorrow. I completely forget it. I lost that particular moment, that particular saying that I was gonna do this and this in like an hour, and I lost it completely. I completely forgot it. That is not form for me a creativity, a productive decision or productive proactivity, if that makes sense. Because most of the time, and I bet a lot of us have, we can't keep up things at pace. You know, we cannot keep a lot of things in check because there's so much going on. For me, making music, obviously, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I have about 7 to 8 songs demanded to be finished. And I'm only doing like the second song out of the list that I'm working on. Now it's going to be 9 because I'm having someone coming over in the week. So for me, being able to navigate where should I go, having my creative mindset that, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this because that's going to help me to get work quicker, right? So I can spend time more with my friends once I'm done with all of it. And then starting from till the very last project, I'm going to be doing 1 project a week. That's it. Whenever a new project comes by, it's either, you know, a couple of days in that week or a complete week. Because the issue that I have is that I have too much going on. I have multiple stacks of projects that I have that I try to complete those or try to get the most done in 1 day. And to me, it didn't work out because while I can look at, you know, the behind the scenes of what I'm doing super quick, the problem is I get crashed out easily because I use so much creativity. I try to be more productive in what I'm doing to the point where my brain's like, yeah, but I don't think you're fit for that. Or saying, I don't know what to come up with, you know? Because yes, like for us musicians, you know, like in the solo performance, we improvise. But we don't improvise with our minds, believe it or not. We can think that way as like theory. And obviously theory as musicians is critical because it's the science and the language that we understand of how music actually speaks for itself and how it's performed. And we improvise not because we know the theory, but we just let the movement, right? We just let the movement or the rhythm do its thing. We don't have to really think about it because all of our bodies, our hands, our arms, our legs are actually doing the thinking. All we gotta do is just look. Look what are the notes I'm hitting. Look at what am I hitting as far as toms goes. Am I hitting tom 1 and then tom 3 and then going into a double kick drum? You know? Musician wise, we can kind of see that way because Even though we have the theory, there's a lot of improvisation happening. The difference is that we don't tend to think a lot in our brain. So our movement does a lot of creative stuff. We will only use that if we ever need to do something different in the moment, such as transitions, such as different hooks that we have to develop, such as creating something as a backup, a backup melody in the back of our heads, you know. That's 20 or 30% of usage right there. The rest is just all I feel. It's all articulation. And so I know a lot of us don't have the pace that, if you're intelligent enough and you're smart enough, then it's easier to process some things in life already. The downside is that if you crashed out, you blanked out completely, then maybe you don't know where to take your girlfriend on the next date. You don't know what's the next sermon you're going to preach on Sunday next week. So for me, it's like, I don't know, it's like a win or a lose, because we are humans, right? There's only a few of us in this world who are super smart enough, who are super intelligent than us. And we sometimes desire that high level of thinking, high level of being smart all the time. But sometimes we limit ourselves to that because we kind of overthink it too much. We overuse our creativity too much. And we overthinking of being productive, being proactive. And that wouldn't let us, doing the right stuff for our lives, right? Not doing the right life choices, not doing the right decisions of what we decide on any category, really, whether it's therapy, being healthy, socially, It's either giving you a positive or a negative impact. So, it's the reality that we are living in, because sometimes our minds can have a million things running, a million voltages currently flowing in our brains. But if one of those nerves, one of those circuits fried, then the whole system is going down, So we sometimes have to be careful of what we're doing. We still got to learn how to be proactively creative in what we're doing, right? In our 24/7 lives. And as children of God, it's the same thing too, right? We have to learn how to take control of our proactive decisions, proactive creativity, and what your calling is, right? If it's in the prayer ministry, if it's a ministry that you're doing a lot of outreaches a couple times a year, whether if it's leading a small group, whether if it's volunteering for VBS, or any kind of holiday events such as Easter, Christmas, whether if it's being part of the production team, that is media, lighting tech, or the worship team, right? How you see yourself fit and what do you want to learn. So we have to think clearly with the right mindset and the right guidance that God has given us. So for us to feel like I don't have the proactive creativity that I could do good things, it's giving you, it's making you feel like you're actually, you know, you're tearing down yourself pretty bad. You've been hard on yourself. You don't see the worst inside of you. That's where I want to go at. You don't see yourself the worst that you already are. You blind yourself from the capacity, the joy, the proactive um, movements and choices that you can do in your heart, in your mind, with your body, with your words, your actions, your thinking, your communications, your vision. You have no idea how much you can do. But a lot of us blind ourselves in not seeing that because we overthink too much ahead, whether if it's something that's happening or we overthink in overseeing someone who's actually better than us. And you can disagree with me if you want, but I can say there's people, guitar players, drummers who are actually better than me. They use so much creativity, a lot more than what I can produce. Does that mean that I'm against it? Absolutely not. I think that's human nature. I think that's talent nature, skill nature. That, we all learn the same things. But most of us dedicate time and how we manipulate it and how we can do such performance in our, with our lives. I heard and see guitar players who are doing freaking melodic solos on a down chorus, a down bridge, whatever. And me, of course, back then, I try to do that, but I get stuck in areas that I'm always stuck to. The reason being is because I haven't really opened up a lot. I haven't opened up my skill. I haven't opened up my door to learn more. And that would have given me so much productive notes, notations, productive performance, productive melodies that I could have done. Thank God I can do it now. That I can grow myself. Because that's the point for me. I want to grow more. It's hard when people think that they know everything, but they actually don't. It's hard to believe that people, or it's not hard to believe, it's sad to see people saying that they know absolutely everything about anything, right? Example, the Bible. A lot of Christians say, yeah, I know every single character, I know every single story, and I know how God works. We're only reading a small portion of what the Word actually says. There is gazillion stuff that we don't know. A lot of mysteries that God has hidden in those scriptures that we don't know. And even if we try to understand more and more, and reading more and studying more, we're only getting small portions of it. But we are nowhere near to reach 100%. We are nowhere near that. Does that mean that that we're discouraged on that? Absolutely not. We are still encouraged to learn more about God and His Word. So for us to have the language, what God is saying in the scriptures, as we are studying, as we are reading, we gotta first of all ask God for guidance, ask God for wisdom, ask God for knowledge, and then let Him speak it through. Right? That's what I've been trying to do. Trying to be creative in my faith journey. I try to create a routine. By opening up my phone, right? My phone, and before I even pull up the 66 books, I say in that prayer, God, I can choose any book, any chapter, any verse, but what is the scripture that you want me to read about, and why? And I just let it soak it in. Let God do His move. And all of a sudden, Psalms 46 verse 10, be still and know that I am God. That's it. Why? So, if there's no creativity in your life choices, in your faith with God, your journey with Christ, if there's no creativity, if being a proactive human being, a proactive child of God, then what are you actually doing? If you're not proactive, if you're not producing creativity and how you can create a good enough, stable family, the moment you get married and the moment you get children, how do you create such routines that could stabilize the family and have good times, good memories, good moments? How could you create to produce love and joy for that particular family that you want to grow up with, that you want to raise up? So, there's just so much going on. There's a lot of things that, especially this generation, a lot of young people are blacked out because they don't know what to do. They do not know what to do. They don't know what their lives are going to be about. They don't know what careers they're going to take. They don't know what kind of career they're going to make a living out of it. They don't know if they're going to go to school. They don't know if they're going to go to work. They don't know if they want to get married. They don't know. And the worst part is, the enemy works in many different ways, but they don't know if they're going to actually do horrible stuff. We're talking crimes. We're talking, doing illegal stuff. We're talking committing suicide, misdemeanors, all this stuff. Felonies, all of that. And it's sad because I know the past weeks, past 2 or 3 months, there's a church near me. It's called Clovis Hill Community Church. And I think you might have heard, but there's a kid that goes to that church. And he was shot at a McDonald's that's near the church. He goes there every week after youth service with his friends to grab a Big Mac, whatever, every week. They go to that same McDonald's place. And he was shot in the middle of the night, around passing 9 p.m., whatever. And he was rushed to the hospital. And, well, the Lord knows. He knows His ways. He knows His plans. And, well, about 3 weeks prior after the incident, and I said this last episode about me and Summer's Mission, the cohort. One of the cohort students who are part of this year's cohort is a worship pastor, and she knows the kid. She and the church are going to gather to kind of pay tribute for the kid, but also do time of worship and do it like a prayer rally. For me, I decided to go there to support them, support her, and support the family of that kid. Which I think they were. I'm not sure. But basically, just to be with the people that have been impacted by that boy. I personally never met him, but I have a friend who knows him a lot. And so the moment I get there, I send him a picture saying, I'm at the prayer rally for your friend. And he said, Juan, thank you so much. The creativity of impacting people by what you're doing, motivating people, encouraging people, praying for people, fellowshipping with people produces such inspiration and such character that nobody is going to, you know, take away, and that everybody is never going to forget. They're never going to forget how productive you are, how proactive you are, and how you inspire them, how you motivate them, saying, hey, I know life is hard, but I just want to know God is still there in the midst of the storm, and He wants you to be on your feet, stand with your legs, stand with your feet, and continue to walk forward. Do not turn back. Do not even look at a single second. Just look every second in front of you and keep going. You know, those moments like that can change someone's lives. So, being creative and inspiring people and motivate people is a key factor, especially in the kingdom. You know, we're trying to sharp people with our hearts. We try to sharp people with our prayers. We try to sharp people to continue to walk forward by anything that we want to, you know, we want to do to motivate them. You know, whether it's going to a small group, whether if it's going to, I don't know, just grab a cup of coffee at Cup of Joy, or Dutch Bros, or Starbucks, whatever, or just hanging out with them, you know, or just plan a little mini getaway, and saying, hey, bro, I'm going to, I'm gonna say Pismo Beach. I'm going to Pismo Beach, and I want to invite you over. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be the weekend there, Thursday to Saturday, and it's gonna be a fun time. Come with me. You're trying to motivate them by giving them the door for them to redefine, rectify themselves. And it's not because they're actually going to the beach. It's because you're the one that calls them. It is you that makes them differently in a positive way. You are making positivity. You are creating and producing positivity that can make them feel like they're worth of who they are and how positive they can be in their life choices and their decisions and whatever path God has taken them to walk and what areas He wants them to grow. It is you that create a positive impact that will mark on their hearts and that never be erased at all. Because it is you that have made the call. It is you that have done the talking. It is you that have done the invite. That creates an impact on people. That creates motivation. That motivates people. That creates encouragement that will encourage people. That creates the creativity so that others can be creative in what they're calling to do. Continuing to encourage others just as how they were encouraged by you, right? They are now being creative, not just only by their minds, but by their heart, right? Their hearts have been shaped and differentiate from others just because of what God has done in that moment. It's not just the actions, it's not just the work, it's not just you fellowshipping with people. It is God that has done secret things we are blinded about, but has changed the heart of whoever's been hit in the gut. I can say that. Who's been hit heavily in spirit to make a positive difference. And because you're the one that's behind all of that, God is saying, good job, well done, right? When Matthew says, well done, good and faithful servant. And now He's saying, I'm going to do the rest. You just keep inviting people. You just keep inviting my children. I'm going to do the work. You just call out people saying, hey, come over here. Let's continue to pray. Let's get up and just go to have a coffee, whatever. Do it, and I will do the work. So there's a million things that God can do. And since He can create such miracles, such blessings, such sacred moments that we don't understand. That allows us to create moments that highlights, you know, the good times, the positive impacts that people can have, right? If God uses creativity to create the heavens and earth, his creation, because he's the creator, then you know what? He's telling me, Juan, create with creativity to be the creator of your creation. And what I mean by that, what you're called at, what you're capable at, right? Create and produce and flow the gifts and talents that God has given you and the choices you make in that. That way it can make a positive impact to others who might hear it, who might have seen it, who might have witnessed it, who might have been involved in it. It's going to say a lot. It's going to say a lot, especially when they give you feedback. If you don't know how to do it or use it the wrong way, then you may not sleep well at night. You may have a bunch of nightmares or flashbacks. But that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It means to keep going. It means to keep being proactive in what you're doing in life. Because we're human beings, right? It's never-ending work, right? Regardless if we're going to school, regardless if we're going to jobs, regardless if we're going to see someone, regardless if we're going to church, we're trying to be proactive. We're trying to be creative in what we're doing. What we are actually saying, what we are actually doing, what we're actually what's happening now, you know? What are you doing in that moment? What are you doing right now? Have you been creative in the choices you make? Have you been creative in controlling your thoughts? Have you been creative in expanding and growing more something you never know of? Have you been creating a routine that allows your journey to expand more, that could reach out to so many lost people, and has it grown, and have you been drawn closer to God? You know, being creative allows you to be from this to this. Why is that? Because God has given that to you. It's not because it's for fun. It's because he's actually given to you because he has a purpose and a vision and a mission for you. And whatever your calling is, and whatever you do, he sees that in you. So I think I'm going to end it here, but I feel like I said, in conclusion, if we are creative for the kingdom, then we are creative to do what we're called at, what we're capable at. And it's not easy to do all of that. But if we pray enough, if we draw closer, if we lean more in what God has want us to walk, right, then it's going to make a positive impact on people around us. It's going to make an impact on those who never even heard about us. It's going to make an impact on the kingdom that God can move, can transform, can change anything, right? He doesn't change, but he can change anything that's in front of him. He can change a lost soul. He can transform a lost soul. He can heal a lost soul to be whole again. I'm writing a song about that, actually. I don't want to sing it because I'm getting vocal lessons, but I will say the title is called Make Me Whole. It's actually two songs. It's called Make Me Whole and then Let Me Run to You. They're kind of in those topics of, transform, making us whole when we're broken, when we're lost, when we're confused. We see a man in front of the road. We hear echoes of hope. We hear voices of the Holy Spirit through the shadows that the world produces. We're trying to hear echoes of salvation that is in the distance. And there's a man in front of us saying, I'm here to save you. I'm here to heal you. I'm here to redeem you. That is God in that moment. We're scared to run to it. And if we didn't run to it, then you know what? The struggles of our souls, with this next song, it's getting harder. And it's hard to not to cry. Sometimes I need to break. Sometimes I need to sit. Sometimes I need to rest when I can't be. But when the timer goes off, I decide to look at the mirror, reflect myself, look at myself, how broken I am, and I say, God, let me run to you. Here's my stash, my casket, my cache of burdens. And it gets harder. But you are seeing those drenched tears that's coming out from my eyes in your eyes. Therefore, do your will. Those are 2 songs that I'm writing down. So, being creative in avoiding loss and avoiding negativity allows you to make positivity, produce positivity, create positivity, and make a positive impact in your community, your family, your church family, your friends. Anywhere and anything you do, you'll be creative to perform good things. Because God does good things. And if He's telling you to do good things, then try to create good things. In fact, don't even just try. Do good things. Because it's not just, just saying, it's like a one-time thing. It's a command, right? God is commanding us to do great things. Seeking people, searching people, praying for people, give generosity, perform hospitality, perform fellowship, perform prayer, times of prayer, perform times of repentance, times of healing, times of, just seeking on God's presence, focusing on the presence of the Lord. That you are creating an expansion of what's around you. And that also creates a bond that can never be broken. A love that is unbreakable and that is unconditional, that cannot be taken, destroyed, steal, separate you and me from God. You created that because of how proactive you are. And that, I believe God is seeing that and a positive impact on you. So, yeah, I know it's been long, but I figured I'd do a video that way. So, I hope this finds you to be creative in what you're doing, in your calling, what God has given you. And yeah, I think it's been a great ride to get to talk more about that. And so, yeah, anyways, great to be here. I'm excited for next week's episode. Don't know what it's going to be about. I'm just praying that God's going to speak through almost every episode. Obviously, He never stops speaking. You know it. He never stops speaking. Will He ever shut up? Who knows? But I know that God always answers all the time. And He will every time. So, yeah. Anyways, thanks for sticking around. Sorry if I'm talking super weird because, like I said, I have retainers. So, at some point in one of these episodes, I'm going to have to take those off so I can speak better. So, yeah. Anyways, God bless. Have yourself a wonderful day. And, yeah, have a great Sunday. And I'll see you next SOTO Sundays episode for next week. And, of course, see you around in any of my videos. So, yeah, take care. God bless.